Today I'm here with John Losh. We've been co-hosting the show Faith Horizons for about 3 months now?
I started co-hosting in March.
In March, April,
May, June, July.
July.
About 4 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're getting to be
5 months.
You're more than a regular now. You're kind of
look, Mom, I'm somebody.
You're getting to be a stick-to-itiveness here, John.
Yeah, I'm telling
you. Anyway, just wanted to give you an update of kind of some of my thoughts, about where Faith Horizons is headed, like the primary purposes of that, and then we're going to hear a little bit from John about some of his passions on, he likes Mavericks vehicles, and he likes, trains, and he's been converting an existing show of his, right?
Oh, yeah.
An existing show of yours. So anyway, so let me just talk a little bit about Faith Horizons. So Faith Horizons, I originally started it was to discover the kingdom of God in Kansas City, one conversation at a time. So the goal is to basically create a discovery channel for the kingdom of God in Kansas City. That's kind of my purpose. And right now, we're trying to break it down into 3 different categories: organizations, businesses, and then more like a kingdom discussion type of thing. Maybe get some regular speakers on, so that just to ask questions and learn more about the kingdom of God in Kansas City, whether that be through business or whatever. But that's the goal. So there's three things: organizations, businesses, and then we're going to have like a speaker section. And the speaker might be related to an organization or not, but basically just people that you can learn from, and that I feel like have a unique perspective on what's going on in Kansas City. So anyway, that's kind of the goal of. And then also, I had thought, I had this idea that perhaps we could do a game, like a card game.
Okay.
But each one of the organizations would be a card,
Okay.
And so the goal of that, and then also we'd have a big map, and it's how you're like some type of like competitive strategy game to, to interact with. But that way people who are playing the game would learn about the different organizations in Kansas City. I'm like, nobody knows,
I like that.
It's my idea is, how do we get people to interact with this kingdom that God has,
Yeah.
And the way I see it is that the kingdom of God is like basically these groups of people and people that God gives a dream to, and then, or basically these people have been given insight, or because they've spent time with God, right?
Yeah.
Because if you spend time with God, you get to encounter His heart towards things, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So the dreams of God. So they kind of interact with the dreams of God on different levels, whether that be helping people get out of homelessness, or helping people who have just come out of prison reestablish their lives. There's a process for all these. There's a practical steps to doing it, but it requires a special person, in organizations to do these things. So we've got Share the Hope, we've got Healing House, we've got the Dream,
we got the Hope Center.
Hope Center.
We got Unite KC.
Empire Dreams is what I was trying to say. Empire
Okay.
Dreams. You've never met with them, but
Okay.
anyway. But Empire Dreams, but just different organizations, the Barnabas Group, that have all partnered with a piece of God. And so that's kind of how I see it. So it's like once I begin to identify the heart of God, which you can identify through the different organizations that He has in the city, then you can fully understand what type of puzzle God's trying to put together here.
Right. Sounds like we should bring on these people that I just met today at the Liberty Small Business Network. They're called Unlock KC.
Unlock KC.
And basically they were librarians together at Kansas City High School for several years, and they had this idea at one point, and they basically what they do is, like today, they have these little boxes on the tables, and each one had a lock, and they had locks all around it. Some of them were number locks, some of them were letter locks, and so it's like a mobile. It's not an escape room, but it's like a mobile escape room. Okay, and you might have to do different things to get a key, or the combination. You might have to do karaoke. You might have to hit a pickleball back and forth across the room while other members of your team are cheering or whatever, to be able to get a key or a combination or whatever. And then inside the box is also a puzzle. And so you unlock the box, and there's a puzzle you put together, and we put together a puzzle and stuff like that. And but the thing is, they can incorporate it to where people learn the clues can be about your organization.
Oh, and
So
they
clues
can, so
could be-
they custom make the
Yeah, they custom make the experience.
So that's something like
it
that.
could be about whoever our
Yeah.
guest is.
Yeah.
It could be about, Faith Horizons.
I think that
anything like
the
that.
Discovering the Kingdom of God. So
Yeah,
about the Kingdom of God in Kansas City. I think that's
Yeah.
really. That's something that's a really good idea. That's
Yeah.
really genius.
Yeah.
You know, you
And
just met these
I got there.
people-
No,
you
I just
met
met these people today.
Come on, see, this is why you get people like John on
and I
the
scheduled
show.
another guest for October as a result of people that I met the last time I was there.
Oh wow.
And one of them was supposed to send me a text and forgot to, and so I was like, well, hey, let's just get you scheduled.
Yeah.
So we did
Well,
that
that's so
today.
good.
So, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your Maverick Chevy, right?
No, it's
Oh,
Ford.
it's
Don't insult my truck. It's a Ford.
Anyway, so all right, so your Ford Maverick, you recently got a decal done.
Yeah. It's a big orange horse logo, and it says Maverick at the bottom. And it's kind of unique. A lot of people, and that's fine. People can do whatever they want. I bought this truck in January 2024 after my 2013 Kia Sportage was stolen, and I'm part of the Greater Kansas City Maverick Club. Shout out to my brothers and sisters in that club. And so everybody likes to customize their vehicles, whether it's a truck, whether it's whatever. And I saw this orange horse logo online, and I knew I had to have it because it's unique. And when you inside the truck, there's this little thing called the infotainment system, and you can listen to the radio on there. You can listen to your music apps or whatever on there through Bluetooth. And there's this little vertical square empty hole.
I saw that.
Next to it. None of us can figure out why they put that empty hole in there. Different people have used it for different purposes. Some people buy little toys or little action figures to put in there. Some people get die-cast cards.
Maybe it was just an empty.
Well, I found online again. I found a little thing that fits in that cubby hole that should be delivered either today or tomorrow to my house. It's black and it's got that same horse logo and says Maverick on it.
Oh, wow.
And there's some orange trim on the vents, on the inside door handles. Orange stitching on the seats, on the front console, in front of where your gear shift and all that is. There's a little orange area there. So I'm about to go orange crazy. The guy that helped me put the logo, the sticker on the hood, he actually has a machine. He's in my Maverick Club. He actually has a machine where he can make things like that for vehicles. He can do clothing. He can do almost anything. So he's going to make me a windshield banner up here that will, again, say Maverick in orange, and will have a little horse at the end of it. He's going to give me prices on decals for the rear fenders that will have the orange horse and the Maverick on there. So then I'm gonna and they sell all kinds of orange accessories. Well, almost any color you want to turn your interior. I saw a post on one today where somebody's doing stuff in almost all blue. So you can turn your interior almost any color. I mean, from your cup holders to your dials for your radio and your heat and your air conditioning and your gear shift and all that. You can put covers over those to turn those around. So I'm going orange crazy here in the future with it.
Did you put a new muffler on it yet? Does it sound like a Harley Davidson?
No, I don't know that I'm going to do that. I'd like to raise it. But my wife would go crazy if I raised it because you need to get step rails to make it a little easier for her to get in and out of it. Just as it is. So, got a tonneau cover for it here recently, thanks to one of my Maverick Club brothers again. But yeah, so I'm enjoying that, enjoying being a part of the Maverick. I'm on almost every Maverick Facebook page out there, and I do a lot of recruiting for our local club, and one of the ways I do it is when somebody posts a picture of their new Maverick on any of those other pages, I say, post a picture of my truck and say, welcome, congrats, welcome, and God bless from Kansas City, Missouri. And then about 25% of the time, they'll go, oh, I'm from Kansas City too.
Oh, wow.
So I'll say, hey, join the Greater Kansas City Maverick Club. Or sometimes I'll just go to their page, their profile page, and find out where they're from and see that they're from the Kansas City area. Then I'll just say, hey, go join the Greater Kansas City Maverick Club.
Oh, that's great.
One of my existing Facebook friends just bought a Maverick. And I just said, well, hey, come join our club, and he did. And so, I get to see a lot of people that I recruited at these meetings and things rallies that we have. And so I'm working on that when I'm not doing this podcast or my Christian Men's podcast or several other podcasts I'm starting.
So what about you had the RAL? Is it called the RAL fans or railroad?
Well,
fans?
yeah. So I'm a big train nut. Okay,
Yeah, he
or
is.
what's actually known as a rail fan.
Okay, a rail
means
fan.
you're really big into trains. And the train bug my grandmother practically raised me on the rail yard in North Kansas City. That was Norfolk and Western when I was growing up. It's now Norfolk Southern. I still live just minutes east of it right now. I can actually hear the trains coming and going from my house. I've taken tons of videos and pictures there that go along with my thousands of pictures I've taken. I'm only one video short right now of having 400 rail-related videos right now. So in 2008, the train bug kind of bit me, and I found out later on that I had family connections, not only to the railroad that my grandmother practically raised me on the rail yard at, but my paternal grandfather worked at the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy, as well as his brother. Turns out he lied about his age when he was 15 after his parents died, and his brother was already working there to get a job there to help support the family. But he was a career man there.
So what are you doing with the podcast right now, though?
I started a railroad podcast on. I've got, like I said, almost 400 YouTube videos, what I call Legacies on the Rails fan videos. And then I started a railroad podcast in about 2014 on a site called Podomatic.
Okay.
Well, I hadn't done anything with that for a while, but I went to it here recently. Could not access all the episodes. I don't know why. So I thought, okay, this is not good. So I decided I'm going to download the ones that I can, and I'm on Spotify for creators with my other podcasts, and it'll let me continue to create more and more shows. So I decided, okay, I'm going to transplant the Legacies on the Rails radio podcast to this one. So I've got that moved to Podomatic or to Spotify for creators now, and got those episodes that I uploaded, did another additional episode. I've got a script for another one written, I just need to get around and do it. But to kind of finish out my 400 railroad videos, since I was only like 9 away coming out of this year, I've been doing YouTube shorts, which thanks to you, doing YouTube shorts of our shows that have gone viral. And I'm either doing, one of my podcasts is now Lost Man's Hollywood Classics and Welcome to the Past podcast. So I'm either doing TV history, movie history, or Today in Railroad History. And so those are getting great results. And
so you're just basically, now these are really shorts, like we're talking about
30 seconds
or so.
30 seconds or so,
Basically giving a little piece of history over the specific date right now with a date in the history, right?
Right.
It usually has to do with, from what I've seen, it has to do with railroad. At least the railroad history.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. You can kind of get some insight on, just different things that have happened, in the railroad history, because there's always something,
Oh, yeah. Well, and I mean, the railroads started back in the 1800s with, when Abraham Lincoln signed the bill that approved land for the Transcontinental Railroad, where the Union Pacific and the Central Pacific came together, one coming from the east, one coming from the west.
Cool,
and they met at Promontory, Utah, where the final Golden Spike was driven. And as a matter of fact, yesterday, it was announced that Union Pacific is doing a merger with Norfolk Southern to actually acquire Norfolk Southern that would actually establish the first true coast-to-coast route in railroad. So we would have another transcontinental railroad, basically, since the original transcontinental railroad was established. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen because some news says it's already a done deal, but there are people who use railroads for shipping that are against it. There are railroad unions that are against it. There are all kinds of people that are against it. So I don't know that for sure.
It's not yet been baked.
It's not yet been baked, exactly. But if it does, it will be a very interesting. So yesterday kind of made another interesting date in history. And the other thing this has led me to do was my first 2 channels, Legacies on the Rails, and my current one, Maverick Ministry Fulfillment. I've tried to be too diverse with my content. So I've got railroad content, I got ministry content, I got die-cast cars, I got sports, I got all kinds of stuff on there. So I'm starting more YouTube channels that are only going to have specific content. So there's a Legacies on the Rails 2 now. There's a Lost Man's Hollywood Classics and Welcome to the Past podcast now. There's a Lost Man Sports Show channel now, and those are only going to have specific content. So I'm hoping that gets not only the regular videos, but the shorts I'll do on there more, content.
So when does Lost Man have time to sleep?
I do go to bed on the nights I work at about 9 o'clock at night, so I do sleep. But but the thing is, I get off at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, you got plenty of time.
My wife doesn't get home till 5:30, 6 o'clock.
You have plenty of time
later.
to take her then.
Right, so I got plenty of time to take her. I'm off on Wednesdays. She's normally at work on Wednesdays, so I've got the whole day on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's good.
Either come and meet with you or go do other things that I'm doing. So I find time to work it all in. And also in the slow times when I'm at work, I've got my notebook here and I'm constantly writing. So I'm scripting the podcast, I'm scripting the YouTube videos, I'm doing all kinds of writing and stuff like that.
They're just taking notes as you think about
Yeah,
it. That way you don't
exactly,
forget
exactly,
it.
yeah.
Well, that's so cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this is Nathan Sack and this is John Losh, and we're the co-hosts of Faith Horizons podcast, and he's the starter and of all these other podcasts. It's so cool. And anyway, we'll have a picture of the you'll have already seen it, but we'll have a picture of the Maverick, the thing that he has on his car. So I'll make sure to have that as an overlay on the video, so you can take a look at that. But anyway, we're getting ready for another interview today, and looking forward to that. We're going to be doing.
We've got Dr. Randy Shepard on today, so we're going to be talking about a disciple. He was an evangelist with Youth for Christ for several years when Kansas City Youth for Christ was around. Then he was the founding pastor of Abundant Life Fellowship in Lee Summit, Missouri, and now he's wanting to start a discipleship program, which I'm going to partner with him in, that we can present to churches. And if there are people who can't take the training actually in church, there'll be a video they can go to. They'll have him teaching it, as well as my testimony about why I think that discipleship is important. And the written material that we're going to come out with this, I'm also going to write a testimony for, basically the same thing. Why is discipleship important?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that on Faith Horizons today. And I got to say, Nathan, thank you so much for approaching me the way you did to come and be a part of Faith Horizons.
Yeah.
I am blessed beyond blessed. God has just been so faithful to let me be a part of this, and we've had so many great guests.
Yeah,
and we got several more guests scheduled.
We got so many people scheduled. It's ridiculous.
And next thing you know, we're going to be scheduling for 2026.
We're already almost there.
Almost there. I mean, it's incredible.
It's
so
very
God
close.
is so good,
So.
and we just want to continue to share what He is doing in ministries and businesses throughout Kansas City.
So much.
And so much, and just how these ministries and these businesses can change people's lives for the better, and it's all because of relationship with Jesus Christ.
All these people's relationship with Jesus Christ, to create these organizations, partnerships
Mm-hmm.
with God, to do great things. So
yeah, absolutely.
Right, well, it's been great. Well, thanks for the short sit down and
Oh, no problem.
shoot. Anyway, I'll talk to you later.